Okay, so in the previous lecture we were discussing about the beta pleated sheet. Okay, and we have already finished the first 2 points, but I'll just revise it. So, like when two or more polypeptide chains, which are called as strands, line up side by side, these strands are held together by hydrogen bonding. Okay, so I told you we were talking about these two strands. So, this is one polypeptide chain, and this is the other polypeptide chain, right? And you can see that both the polypeptide chains, you can also term them as strands. So both these polypeptide chains, they are held together by hydrogen bond. Now here the C double bond O and the NH, so the hydrogen bond is formed between O and H. Now what is the definition of hydrogen bond? Hydrogen forms bond with any electronegative element or atom that is present in its vicinity. So O is the one which is having the negative charge, hence the hydrogen bond is formed between O and H. Okay, now the C double bond O and the NH bond lie in the planes of the sheet. So yes, that day I was telling you regarding this diagram. C double bond O and NH bonds lie in the planes of the sheet. So I'm talking about this area. Okay, this area. So this is the area where your C double bond and NH bonds will be lying, and R groups are oriented above and below the plane of the sheet. So it is going to be above or below the plane of the sheet. An example is silk protein. Fine. So this is what you have to write under beta pleated structure. First you will write that you have to take two polypeptide chain which line side by side, you can say, or ones which are adjacent to each other, and both the strands, they are held together by the hydrogen bonds. Okay, then you need to tell where the bonds actually lie. So C double bond O and NH bonds lie in the plane of the sheets, and R groups are oriented above and below the sheet. You can refer the same diagram is given in your textbook as well. An example is silk protein. Okay, now we move on to the next one, that is tertiary structure. Now in tertiary structure you don't have to write anything much, you just have to elaborate that the three-dimensional shape. Now by this time, by the secondary structure, it is classified into two types. One is the alpha helix and the beta pleated sheet. So here the three-dimensional shape which is adopted by the entire polypeptide chain of a protein structure, it is stabilized by hydrogen bonding. Okay, so hydrogen bonds are formed, dipole dipole interaction is there. Dipole dipole interaction means two charges should be there, that is plus and minus. Okay, then your disulfide bonds are there, that is two sulfur atoms, a double bond will be formed between them, and your electrostatic attraction. So basically under tertiary structure you will be saying that the three-dimensional structure of protein that is formed, by the time you come to the secondary structure, it is stabilized by hydrogen bonds, electrostatic attractions, dipole dipole interactions, and disulfide bonds. Okay, this is what you have to just mention under tertiary structure. No any as in you don't have to draw any structure as such here. Okay, now next is quaternary structure. So this is basically the last structure of our protein. So two or more amino acid chains forms a complex protein. So complex protein means now your protein structure is completely formed and it is complex. Complex means now if you look at your body is complex, right? A number of cells have come together to form tissues have come together to form an organ has come together to form an organ system, and then your body is formed, right? So quaternary structure is like your body. Okay, so it is made up of a number of complex things up there. So similarly even here two or more amino acid chains forms your complex protein. Now each individual polypeptide chain is going to be called as the subunit of the overall protein. Now so if your protein is made up out like say 10 polypeptide chains, then one polypeptide chain is going to be called as what? Your subunit. I hope you understand that. If you have a protein which is made up of 5 polypeptides chain, तो उसमें से जो एक रहेगा it will be called as what? Subunit. Okay, so there will be 5 subunits of polypeptide chain that are coming together to form a protein. Now I have mentioned one example here is of hemoglobin. Okay, so hemoglobin is made up of 4 subunits, that is heme. held together by intermolecular forces to form the 3D shape. So what do I mean to say is here, hemoglobin जो रहता है, in order to make that hemoglobin there are 4 polypeptide chains that are coming together. That is why 4 subunits. Understood? Again I am repeating, if one protein molecule is made up of 5 polypeptide chains, means it is going to have 5 subunits. Means one polypeptide chain is equal to one subunit. So here hemoglobin is made up of 4 subunits, means it is going to be having 4 polypeptide chains. Okay, and the name of those polypeptide chain is heme. Now they are held together by intermolecular forces and thus they get their 3D shape. Okay, so I hope all this 4 structures or 4 levels of proteins are clear to you all. Now there is one more small topic that we need to cover under proteins, and that is denaturation of proteins. Now what is denaturation of proteins? Now how does denaturation of proteins takes place? You can say that because of high temperature. High temperature means of course you are going to heat it, or you can say whether if you are going to add addition or acid or a base, or agitation. Agitation, I have written the meaning here, disturbance. Now if you are carrying out this 3 cases out here, it is going to break the bonds that are responsible for the protein shape. Okay, now if you take your protein or any food that is rich in protein, and if you are going to heat it, or if you are going to add an acid or a base, or if you are going to cause disturbance to that food item, then the protein structure that is going to be there in that food item or the food substance, it is going to break. Okay, and when this disturbance takes place, what is going to happen to the shape of the protein? It is going to break off. Okay, now what exactly is this denaturation? So the molecular shape of the protein changes without breaking the peptide bonds that forms the primary structure. So what are they saying? If you look at a protein molecule, then that in order to form a perfect protein molecule, there are 4 levels that they need to undergo, right? Primary, secondary, tertiary and quaternary. So in primary, we are talking about the formation of peptide bonds. So what they are saying is that the primary level, the peptide bonds that are formed, they are not going to break. तो उसके अलावा जो भी दूसरा बॉन्ड्स रहेगा ना, मतलब हाइड्रोजन बॉन्ड्स, डाइसल्फाइड बॉन्ड्स, और द इलेक्ट्रोस्टैटिक अट्रैक्शन, those bonds are going to break. Okay, and that is why what is going to happen? It is going to destroy the shape and the biological activity of that particular protein. Now if you don't understand this, then I have given you an example. Boiling of egg coagulates egg white. Okay, now if you take egg, now everyone must have seen the yolk, or you can say the white part, which is rich in calcium. Okay, now it if you break the egg, then it is liquidy and sticky in appearance, right? And if you boil the egg, what happens? It becomes little hard, or the better word is coagulate. Okay, so what happening? Because you're boiling the egg, that means you're increasing the temperature. Okay, and what happens to the shape of the protein? The shape of the protein changes, hence from that sticky liquid appearance of egg, it becomes little hard. Okay, or even if you look here, conversion of milk to curd. ओके, हम लोग का जो दही रहता है, योगर्ट रहता है, सेम थिंग वी डू. मिल्क इज़ लिक्विड. व्हेन यू ऐड लाइम, सो यू आर बेसिकली एडिंग acidic thing to milk. So what is going to happen? Okay, so again you are causing disturbance, and hence the structure of protein there breaks and your milk gets converted to curd. So understood what is denaturation of proteins? Denaturation of proteins is nothing but if you boil something, that means you are increasing the temperature, or if you are going to add acid or a base, or if you bring about disturbance to the food substance that is rich in protein, it is going to break the it is going to change the shape of the protein without breaking the peptide bonds, and because of that what is going to happen is biological activity is going to get disturbed. Good example I have given is boiling of egg and conversion of milk to curd. I hope it is clear.